So this Vedas, four Vedas, we all know that four Vedas of Hinduism, usually we call it as Rig Veda, Sama Veda, Yajurveda Veda, Atharva Veda, right? So these Vedas are an extremely large and very comprehensive scripture which forms a core of Hinduism. Of course, it is common to whole world. It's not about a religion. When it comes to Hinduism, here we are not representing Hinduism as a religion. It's about the process of living. So these Vedas are considered to be one of the integral scripture foundation of Hinduism. So typically Hinduism believes on God is one. That's what in earlier classes that we discussed about Om. Om represents God is one, but it is replicating on many forms. So that is the meaning of Om. So here many of the Hindus do believe that the Vedas were not written by any of the God Ishwar. That means Ishwar, that when it comes to Hinduism, they represent three gods, right? Vishnu, Brahma, Vishnu, Ishwar. So the same thing that those people are believing the Vedas are not written by Ishwar. It is as being the explore that delivery of someone who is eternally existing, someone beyond Ishwar is existing, that the delivery of Veda has become from that person. So while many historians regarded this Vedas as some of the oldest surviving texts in the world, so that also estimates that these Vedas estimate them to have a written down between 2500 to 500 BC actually. So this lecture typically comprises of introduction on Vedas, that means how many types of Vedas and what about that, and meaning of Vedic management, management ideas in Vedas, space sciences in Vedas, and finally Vedas and change management. This is the learning objective sets for this today's class. So the Vedas are extremely large and that we already discussed, which is comprehensive in nature. So these Vedas are almost ancient books in the world's in the world it is considered to be, and they are the foundation of Hinduism. That means Veda means knowledge here. So any form of knowledge which is acquired and is considered as Veda, where it has no beginning or end. That is about Veda. So while it might surprise some people how a book can have no beginning and end, definitely, right? So the ancient rishis, we have so many rishis, saints we can call it as, who wrote these was accepted, and it was accepted as a complete knowledge which is applicable for whole universe. So this philosophy makes Hinduism a very tolerant religion, always ready to accept new ideas and other cultures. So the basis is Vedas. So the motive of these Vedas is to help a man to remain within the limitations of the Vedas despite of having lost in the spiritual emotion. That is why it was explored. That means in the materialistic world, how the man was exploring, and the Vedas is retaining awareness on the soul principle. Soul. Whenever we are talking about I means that soul. It's not about a material thing which is a body. So the Vedas are meant primarily to bestow the entire creation with happiness, which is rather than to attain the final liberation. That means moksha. So final liberation is always called as moksha. The resultant benefit of a happy society is the final liberation. So the Vedas are not meant merely for spiritual contemplation. They also contains worldly and divine concepts of within. About four Vedas, this is the idea. So these are the primary Vedas, which are we are having are four here. Actually, we know Lord Krishna in Dwapar Yuga. His existence also proved by many archaeologists. So these Vedas were compiled by Lord Sri Krishna during Dwapar Yuga with a goal to come up with a de facto standard of education on this. So upon gathering all these teaching passed on from acharyas, that means teachers, to their students from kingdom to kingdom, he compiled these Vedas into four standard structures. So the four standard structures are Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharvana Veda. So these are the four Vedas, except that they were compiled by Vedavyasa, which is a date of origin is not traceable. So here Vedavyasa has said something prior dates also. So hence it is difficult to say when the earliest parts of Vedas came to existence. That's what we are calling it as. Vedas are the books which doesn't have the beginning and ending. So let us look into these four Vedas, which is collectively known as Chatur Veda. Chatur denotes four. That's what these four are called as Chatur Veda, which is of first three Vedas are Rig Veda, Samaveda, and Yajur Veda, which agrees in the form of language and content. So here Veda means wisdom, Veda means knowledge, or Veda means vision. And it always manifests the language of the gods in human speech. We can consider it as. So the laws of the Vedas regulates the social, legislative, domestic, and religious customs of Hindus to the present day. So all these obligatory duties of the Hindus during the birth, marriage, and death, etc., it is implied. So that Hindus do follow all these according to the Vedic rituals. So they draw for this successive, that's usually why this Vedas, what's the purpose of this Vedas? This draws the uh, points how to live and all. They will give a right path to the successive generations of thinkers. So here let us look into Rig Veda. So Rig Veda is called as Book of Mantra. Book of Mantra. So this Rig Veda is collection of This Rig Veda is collection of inspired songs or hymns and is a main source of information on Rigvedic civilization. So this is the oldest book, very oldest book, is in the form of Indo-European language, which contains of 1017 hymns. That means suktas, that is called as suktas. Hymns means HYMNS represents hymns, which is also called as suktas, which is covering almost about 10,600 stanzas. So this Rigveda was written in Sanskrit during the period of 1500 BC to 1000 BC. Of course, some scholars are telling Rigveda was delivered during the period of 12,000 BC to 4,000 BC. That is the period that they are representing by the researchers. So these hymns are, or these suktas are the work of many authors or many saints who are called as seers, rishis. So who are those rishis? So there are 7 primary seers which has identified this Vedas. Atri, Atrisite, Kanva, Vasistha, Vishwamitra, Jamadagni, Gautama and Bharadwaja. So this Rigveda accounts in detail of religious, social, political and economic background of Rigvedic civilization. So even though that belief usually the people have, there is only one God, that characterizes some of the suktas of Rigveda as a naturalistic way of religion. Any submissions in this regard? Are you following me, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So let us look into Samaveda. So Samaveda is said to be the book of song. So this is a book of song which is the oldest musical arrangement and earliest human literature, especially in music of the world. So this Samaveda is purely into the liturgical collection of melodies, which is called as Saman. Saman is liturgical collection of melodies. So these suktas in the Samaveda, which is typically used as musical notes, were almost drawn from Rigveda. That means for Samaveda, Rigveda is the basic. This is the continuation of that. So here in Samaveda, no distinctive lessons of their own. Those are brought from Rigveda, but it is as a song, that means musical notes. Hence, it is text is reduced version of this Rigveda. Some of the Vedic scholars like David Floyer, we have some Vedic scholars, even Subhash Sharma. So these people elevated the word Rigveda and Samaveda. Right. Rigveda is as book of mantra, Samaveda is as book of song. So this, if Rigveda is the knowledge, if we say Samaveda is its realization for the knowledge. So if Rigveda is wife, obviously Samaveda is like husband. Both are together, both are interlinked. Their soul is one, but bodies are different. So this is about Rigveda and Samaveda. So Ajurveda. Ajurveda is called as book of ritual. So the Ajurveda is also a liturgical collection and was made to meet the demands of ceremonial religion. So this is almost equal to in Egypt that we have Book of Dead. If you have seen this movie Mummy, there is a secret book for them, Book of Dead. So this Ajurveda, somewhere the people consider it as equal to that book. So here the Ajurveda practically served as a guidebook for the priests who execute the sacrificial acts. Okay, for them this is the book which is a guide. So it is almost similar, as I said, to the Book of the Dead. So there are no less than 6 complete recitations in Ajurveda. Kanva, Taitriya, Kathak, Maitrayani, Kapisthala, Madhyadina. So I don't want to get in much of this. So these are the 6 complete decisions in as per the book of Yajurveda. So next, Atharvana Veda. Atharva Veda, or usually in Sanskrit it's Atharvana Veda. Now we are saying it as Atharva Veda. So this is the book of spell. So this Atharva Veda consists of 20 books of suktas, many of which reflects the religious concerns of everyday life. So the last of Vedas, usually this is the last of Vedas in Chatur Vedas. This is completely different from the other 3 Vedas and is next in the importance of Rig Veda. So why it is after Rig Veda? It is with regard to the history and sociology. A different spirit pervades this Veda. The suktas are of more diverse character than the Rig Veda and are also simpler in language. In fact, many scholars don't consider it a part of Vedas at all because the Atharvana Veda consists of spells and charms which is prevalent in its time and which portrays a clear picture of Vedic society. So it is believed that humans did not compose the revered composition of the Vedas. So this is about the 4 Vedas. If you have any doubts or submissions, you can ask me now, or else we can jump to Vedic management. Can you able to follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you clear about till then? Just I have to give the brief how the books, that means those 4 Vedas, what it tells about. So if we look into Vedic management, this that is nowadays the management trend, even if it is the corporates, we are in the period of holistic development of management. Holistic in sense taking and or considering the deliveries from the Vedas, how best that we can implement in our day-to-day life. Either it comes to personal life or corporate work life. What is ethical and what is unethical. So this is about Vedic management. So this Vedic management encompasses the entire gamut of human endeavors. That means it's a singing path. So the humans are considered to be everything which is of mental, intellectual, societal, environmental, and spiritual planes. So this theory of Vedic management presented in 4 dimensions usually. So these are the 4 dimensions which is considered in Vedic management: self-management, relationship management, cosmic management, spiritual management. So self-management. What is self-management? Any ideas, any submissions? Any ideas about self-management? Are you people with me?
Yes, ma'am.
What is self-management? Okay, let's not waste time. Okay, self-management is about a person or an individual, how a person is towards these aspects, towards the society, towards the nature. That is about self-management. As an individual, how you are being ethical, how you are being a right person. And next one is relationship management, which derives as a human being or relationship between the people and nature. Relationship management, which is very keen. See, when it comes to self-management, if you want to grow, what is the best thing? First of all, you have to learn, which is actually has to happen. Then you have to compete and you have to grow. This is the right way. But some people will deviate this process. So relationship management. Usually when it comes to relation, we have to build a bond between the persons or build a bond between the nature, whichever the relationship. So relationship management, it is not with customers, it's not with the companies and all. Relationship management describes about the whole thing wherein typically derives the relationship between everything. And cosmic management. What is cosmic? What is the meaning of cosmic, first of all? So cosmic means it's a
dealing with the
apart
celestial
from
objects.
earth, as we are all living in earth, apart from earth we have something, and believing in that something, that is as energy. Cosmic management, if you are in the dilemma, so during that dilemma many of the situations leads the persons into wrong path. So if some people is believing on that cosmic management, so those people will rely on the right sides. So what is cosmic management? First of all, let us look into that. So here that derives depending on the observations, depending on the results. There is a process for it. That is cosmic management always do observe and decide on the decisions. And spiritual management, need not say about that. Spirituality, that means devotion towards something. If we are discussing this into the corporate world, devotion towards the organization will give good productivity. You can be a loyal employee to the organization. So these are the four dimensions which typically, of course, we have. This is not a small subject. Just I want to give you what are the four dimensions in the Vedic management. So spirituality represents about that, spiritual management. So as I represented in the learning objectives, space sciences in Vedas. So further to tell them, so space sciences and all we are all feeling because of the enrichment of the science only we came to know what is the distance between the earth and the sun, and what is the distance, how many what about nature, how many suns are there, how many planets are there and all. But this Hanuman Chalisa was written in so long by Mr. Tulsidas, right? So Tulsidas wrote this in Ramayana. He represented this the scientific Ramayana, that we can call it as. In Hanuman Chalisa, he wrote, of course, that's many more lines. If we pick these two lines, Yuga Sahasra Yojana Parabanu, Leelayo Tahi Madhura Phala Janu. So if you look into these two lines, Yuga Sahasra, one Yuga is representation of 12,000 years. For every Yuga, we have 4 Yugas. What are those? Do you know what are the 4 Yugas?
Yes, ma'am.
Kaliyugam, Kaliyugam, Tretayugam,
Hmm.
Dwapara
Hmm? First, which comes? First one.
Satyug.
Satyayuga.
Treta Yuga.
Treta.
Dwapar, Treta, and
Krita.
Kaliyug.
Tretayugam, Kaliyugam.
That's also have another name, Satya Yuga. Krita Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga. So for every Yuga, we have 12,000 years. So that is about Yuga. Sahasra. We know Sahasra means 1,000. And 1 Yojan represents 8 miles. That means 12,000 into 1,000 into 8 miles, which is representing how many miles it is? How many miles it is? 9 crores 60,000 miles, right? So 9 crores 60 lakhs thousand miles. That means here if we represent 1 mile is equal to 1.6 kilometers, that was defined, right? So the distance which was represented here in kilometers, that is NASA told in the earlier days, this is the distance between Earth and Sun. So what Tulsidas narrated in Hanuman Chalisa is he traveled up to Sun, planet Sun. What he thought of when he is traveling towards that Sun, what he thought of? He think that that Sun is as a sweet fruit. Leelayo tahi madhura phala janu. That means he was in that thought, Leela, imagination, thinking that the sun is as a sweet fruit. So that representation is here. I'm not taking the sun as a sweet fruit, but I'm considering that scientific Ramayana. In Ramayana itself, we have science, technology. We are not new to science and technology. From the Vedas itself, it was derived. So those days, Tulsidas, it was in so many years. Tulsidas period was, let me check out, Tulsidas period. It was from 1497 to 1623. But he was writing about the existence of Hanuma, which is so earlier, right? Those days itself, they defined, they fixed. We don't have any meters and we don't have any calculus those days, but those people delivered the exact distance between Earth and Sun. So do you agree we have space sciences in Vedas also? Do you agree with me at least by looking at these lines?
Yes, ma'am.
Vedas are always said to be great because their origins may not be. That's directly someone derived it how to live. Being a human being, how you have to be present yourself in the world. So if you look into the next slide here, we gave some insights of marketing ideas, whichever that relates the extracts from the Vedas. So in Vedas, we have discussion about customer relationship management and how to handle the customer, how to present yourself to the customer, and how to manage and motivate the team. Of course, here representing, if we are talking about marketing, that's what we have represented the sales team. Whatever the team, when it comes to team management, when it comes to team motivation, how we have to do, what are the best things that we can do. And also, we have a talk about change management, how to adopt the change. And here, how to motivate your sales team. So these are the few steps which was retrieved from Rigveda Samhita. That means a sloka or a sukta from Rigveda. He stirs people to labor and he is originator of thought. He stimulates. That means first of all a person has to think himself. That means we have a proverb here, keep your foot in other shoes. Right? So first of all, we have to feel that we are like that. And he is the originator of thought. He start thinking of this is the right way. So keeping our foot in the other shoes, thinking in a such way how the others are feeling, and we have to start thinking which would be the best way, which can be extracted from the experiences of this people. Okay, and he stimulates an idea. If you behave like this, if you talk to the customer like this, if you can convince the customer like this, that's why he stimulates an idea. He will motivate the salesperson. He makes others better than what they are. That means motivating Ramayana, how to motivate. In Ramayana, we listen to some lectures, right? How there was a process that we discussed, 5-step model about Hanuman, how he got self-motivated. Do you remember about the thoughts? So likewise, what is the best quality of that person? If we can able to penetrate that, he could be the best employee of that. He inspires the thought of others. That means welcoming the ideas from them, telling them what are the pros and cons of that decision and all. That's how we can motivate the sales teams. Can we apply this in the real time or not? Of course, they might be in suktas. If we elevate as a meaning, these are the things could be happen. So next, Vedas and change management. How in Rig Veda, what they talk about the change management. So change is inevitable in nature. That is common. Change in the persons, change in the nature, change in the society. Without change, nobody can grow. Okay, nobody can move forward. Nobody can think forward. Right? So change is inevitable for the growth. If someone is looking it as a negative one, then definitely that X or Y are not initiating further growth. So one shall be pleasant to all in the new environment and reign supreme. So change will come, but change is not necessary to the person, and adoption of the change is always inevitable. So change shall be occur. So one shall be vigilant, closely united, happy and prosperous in the new environment. So accept the change, mold yourself accordingly, fit for the change, and do learn how to fit ourselves into that change environment. New environment brings happiness. So always, sometimes we may struggle, but later on the change will lead to the happiness if you could able to fit into that as early as possible. And we have personality management in Atharvana Veda. So one shall be sweeter than honey. So if you talk with some people, always you would like to listen more from those people. You will be more happy by speaking with them, by spending with them. Why it is being happening? Why it is not being with everyone? Because that is a good trait that these people are having. So one person may become sweeter than honey by their looks, by their talks, by their uh, way of work, everything. Something will attract the people, right? So here they talked about the appearance of the person. The person shaves his hair and beard, trims his nails, baths in waters, carries himself in an ideal garment and guards his body. But finally, whatever the appearance, of course, it may give good impression, first impression for short time, but long-term impression is always exists with the character, the thinking, the way of thinking of that person, right? So if we come to the body, how you have to be, head is grace, mouth is fame, hair and beard are brilliant, breath is king and deathlessness. Eyes is the Lord, ear is the prince. So how you have to consider your body every time if we see even eating habits, people are not comfortable with the eating habits, whatever coming new in the market they are trying. So seeing the body as a traveler, that's bridge between the cosmic and earth, cosmic power and earth, you can save your body like anything. Tongue is always a bliss because if your tongue is on control, always you can make many more happy. It's not, it's about the taste, it's about the talks. Voice is might, mind is calm. Your voice has to be in a pleasing manner. If you shout on the people, even though if your words are sweet, the way that they are considering is not a similar way what you are thinking. Mind, you have to keep your mind always calm. So this is how you can present before the people. Here, of course, we represent it to the customer, even if it is for the self-management or for relationship management. If a person with these qualities always have a best group around him or her. So this is about today's lecture. If you have any submissions, always invitable.